Today I'm going to be talking to you about two individual endangered species and their recovery plans. I hope by the end of this you will see how important it is that governments and their agencies and their other organizations work together to achieve the goal of being able to remove species off the endangered list. I am an Eagle Scout and I have spent many enjoyable hours camping in the wilderness. I also spend my summers as a lifeguard in North Wildwood. Nature in all of its glory is important to me, and I hope it always will. Since the time my parents were in high school, more than half of the wilderness has disappeared from our planet. What hope does that offer our future enjoyment of nature, yet alone our children and grandchildren's enjoyment? We have destroyed our forests, our soil has been damaged, which it greatly affects the ability to produce food and crops, affecting every member of the food chain from plants and up. And as if that isn't enough, more than one-third of fish we eat are in the endangered list or endangered of being extinct. So yes, the condition of the Earth's biodiversity is dire. This map right here shows the remaining population of species as percentage of the original. It is a red sea or sea of red, meaning that the current populations are less than 70% from what they originally were. The endangerment of species has impacted the world's food web, both above and below. Extinction of species in the middle of the food chain can cause problems for both top and bottom. Extinctions of species at the bottom causes problems all the way up. Every species is somewhat dependent on every other species. So all other species being wiped out could wipe out lots of other species. Before long, there will be none, including humans. Canada and the US are both trying to do their part. Perhaps it is the red tape of the governments that are getting in the way, but both governments have significant problems with their processes. 30 species are listed as endangered or threatened on both countries' lists. In Canada, the recovery plans are created, happening slowly by law, only applied to species on Canadian land and not on private lands. They are very slow to try to recover marine life. In the US, the Endangered Species Act that enacted to protect and recover species at risk expired in 1993. Congress funds the program each year, but they could eliminate it at any time without permanent legislation in place. The urgent need to help endangered biodiversity is not reflected in their governments. So on that information, I want to tell you about two species and their recovery history. First is the North American right whale. This incredible mammal is a baleen whale, which means that they have no teeth. Their baleen looks like a comb and filters plankton and other food from the ocean. And they take big gulps of water and spits it back out, and the baleen holds the food in the whale. They eat more than 2,500 pounds of food a day. These whales swim very slow, which puts them in danger of ships because they can't swim away fast enough. They also become entangled in fishing line and fishing gear. Both Canada and US have this species listed as endangered. Both have had recovery plans in place, but the results are awful. Since being enlisted as endangered in both countries, there has been an additional loss of 30% in the population. A key point there is that people in Canada who are in charge of the recovery plan do not even recognize that there are people in the US trying to do the same thing. Here are some awful results from the lack of cooperation. At the top is a North American right whale hopelessly entangled in fishing line. To the right is the one picture of a dead whale that was horribly found in a discovery with 12 other whales in 2017. 4% of the population is dying at one time. The map shows the whales travel. They breed and feed in Canada and then migrate close to the Atlantic coast to Georgia to give birth. It all seems like common sense for the two countries to work together to protect this incredible creature. The second species I want to talk to you about is the whooping crane. This incredible bird is the tallest bird in North America, 5 feet tall and a wingspan of 7.5 feet. They're pairs for life. The original flock migrates between Texas and northern Canada, and migration takes about 2 to 3 weeks. They are endangered because of the loss of the habitat because of hunting. The success of recovery is obvious, nearly 1,000% in less than 50 years. A key point here is that recovery plan is being coordinated between both Canada and US. Here are some great results of coordination. At the top shows the collection of eggs that scientists take from Canadian breeders and breeding grounds to build captive flocks in Maryland to keep right. The hatched birds are raised by humans in costumes to look like their parents. The map shows the migration path known as the original flock. The new flock is trained to migrate from Wisconsin to Florida. Their goal is 25 breeding pairs by next year. So common sense works. Working together is a positive result. What are the lessons learned? Cooperation works. If only two countries and all of their involved organizations worked together for the common goal, all of the endangered species would be better off. I would like to leave you with a video. It needs to be an example for all recoveries.
The whooping crane has been on the endangered species list since 1971. Today, the only naturally occurring wild population of whooping cranes winters around the Gulf Coast of Texas. In the spring, these whooping cranes migrate north, nesting in Canada's Wood Buffalo National Park. Since this population concentrates in only 2 areas and migrates long distances, they are especially vulnerable to human impacts, disease, and bad weather. Recognizing that whooping crane survival depends on additional separated populations, the U.S. and Canadian governments, along with organizations like the Calgary Zoo and Operation Migration, have been working hard to establish a second migratory flock. The new flock will winter on the Gulf Coast of Florida and migrate to breeding grounds in central Wisconsin. The cranes from this flock are costume reared from birth. They are then taught to follow an ultralight aircraft on their first migration from Wisconsin to Florida. The birds learn the migratory route and then follow it on their own. This new migratory flock was established in 2001 and has added birds to the population in each subsequent year through reproduction in the wild. Thanks to these and numerous other conservation efforts, the whooping crane population is now on the rebound.